All right, everybody, shalom and welcome to the Yishai Fleisher Show, broadcasting on a Monday night here from beautiful Judea, Israel. And it is starting to get cold because it's going to be snowing soon here in the land in like another 2 days. So the weather's starting to change. It's been beautiful, but it's cold tonight already. But it's warm inside because we're going to have a great conversation with a good friend, Amit Barak, about a great new game. We're just going to wait for everybody to show up and join us here on the show. So if you're joining us right now, do me a favor and leave me a comment telling me how the sound sounds, how the look looks, and we will be together, broadcasting from Judea together. So all I need to do is hear from one of you peoples out there. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me about the sound. Jassim Katabi writes, he writes, Shabbat Shalom. Now, Jassim, you're awesome, but we only say Shabbat Shalom on Friday or on Saturday if we meet one another. We say Shabbat Shalom, which means the good Sabbath. But Shalom is awesome, which just means peace, and also it's the name of God. Kobe says, Hakol Beseder. Thank you, Kobe. God bless you. And Olivera says, hello. So we have a lot of friends already joining us, and you too can join us and let us know if you're hearing everything okay, like Evo, who says okay, and Steven sounds great in Jersey, and Oliver sounds good and looks good. All right, so thank you very much, everybody, and let's just start the show. Shalom, everybody, and welcome to the Yishai Fleisher Show, broadcasting live from Judea to the world. You're part of it wherever you are. And tonight here from Judea, we're going to get biblical. Let's get biblical a little bit. And at the end, it's the Bible and the Torah and the stories of the Torah and the laws of the Torah and the land of Israel where the Torah took place, especially all the stories of the Tanakh, the stories of the forefathers and mothers. That we get so excited about everything that we're doing because we draw our energy from our heritage and from our history. And that's what God wanted. He put into this world beautiful places in the land of Israel, a way to communicate with him and connect to him. And this is something that I've been talking about forever on this show and in various outlets, including on my Twitter feed and also on Instagram and Facebook, all the stuff that we do all the time. And so folks are out there connecting to it. But a friend of mine named Amit Barak, who has really pioneered relations between Israelis, Jews, and people of the Bible, people who love the Bible throughout the world, various kinds of Gentiles, Christians and others who love the Bible and are interested in the Bible. He's pioneered a fabulous new game, which I think is so cool. And the minute I heard about it, I said, we got to do an interview about this. And it's my good friend, Amit Barak. Amit Barak, thank you so much for joining us today. Shalom and welcome.
Shalom, Yishai. Thank you.
So awesome to be with you. And if somebody, I'm just going to, for 1 second, put myself on full screen so everybody could see behind me. You see this thing, it says Way of the Patriarchs, and it's a game that you've created. And I want you to tell me a little bit about this awesome board game that actually walks us through the land of Israel. And this board game is a prototype, which you are promoting through Kickstarter. And the idea is to have fun in the game, but also to connect you to the places in the land of Israel. Tell me about it.
Yes. About 2 years ago, a friend of mine, Amit Barak, and me, we were sitting and thinking how we bring people to know the way of the Patriarchs, which begins in Beersheba, in the Negev desert in the south, goes all the way on the back of the mountains, Judea, Jerusalem, Samaria, then go to Jezreel Valley and climb up to the Galilee and ends in Nazareth. How do we bring it to people? How do we create awareness when people are coming and visit Israel, that they will come and visit and tour the way of the Patriarchs? Some people are coming, they visit Hebron, they visit Shiloh, but they are not aware that it's actually a way, an ancient way. But also today it's Road 60 that we use, you and me, every day. And we came up with the idea of a board game. And we thought that we need, when we developed the game, we understood that it's not only to bring Israel, to bring the Holy Land, the way of the Patriarchs, into people's living rooms, but it's also to make them more curious and to bring them here. I mean, to pull them or to push them to visit the way of the patriarchs when they arrive in Israel.
So
And
basically, it's educational. But you and I both know, Amit, is that one of the reasons that people don't come here is because they don't know. Another reason they don't come here as much is because they're afraid and because they've heard rumors that it's scary. And yet another reason is that is that the tour agencies themselves don't always take people here. But when you go to America and you hear people talking, they say, "Take me to Shiloh, take me to Shiloh, take me to Beit El, take me to Hebron." I didn't know that I could actually engage the tombs of the forefathers and mothers in Hebron. I can't believe that I can touch the tomb of Rachel. I can't believe that I could be where the tabernacle stood. I can't believe that I can even climb the Temple Mount. And that's a very powerful thing, that when people realize that the Bible that they've learned is actually lived in, and that the real Bible road, the real, what do we call it, the Bible belt, right, is really in the land of the Bible. People are very moved by that. People are excited by that, but they haven't been taught that. This game is kind of a step in trying to teach people that such a thing exists, and that they themselves can travel this road. Now, what happens in the game itself? Now, let me try to show a picture here for the folks watching right now. Let me try to figure out how to show a nice picture of that. Maybe it's in my Chrome tab. Yep, that's right. Here we go. All right, here's the game itself. All right, you could see it. You could see it. Let me make it even bigger. There it is, the game itself. That's from my email. Yeah, you could see the game itself, Way of the Patriarchs. Who are the two faces there that you have facing each way? What's that about?
I think it's two priests. We took an Israeli artist. He was a combat in an elite unit, but today he's an artist, and he created the design of it. And we told him we are talking about a biblical game that will expose the people to the stories, to the places they know. Millions of people are praying, and they know, they heard their names, and so we told them, yeah, we give you a freedom to design it, to draw what you want. It's a biblical game, begins with biblical sites, but it's go along also to some other periods during the history of Israel, the Jewish people, and the land of Israel. So he told us they are priests. We follow it.
Mm-hmm. Tell me what happens in the game itself. What exactly transpires in the game?
So in the game, the main road on the board is the way of the Patriarchs, begin in Beersheba. You have to roll a die and move on the board, and you have tasks. When you arrive to Beersheba, to Hebron, you have tasks that you need to open the Bible. I mean, the game is mostly for children. What we thought, the idea was that the family will gather together around the table, and the parents, the grandparents, they will play and have fun with the kids. Today you probably know it. Kids are spending so much time in front of the screens. People ask us, why didn't you do it an online game or an app? We told them we don't want another game that the kids will spend alone in front of the screen. We want the family to sit together. So they will open the Bible. They will learn with the kids the Bible and the connection to the site. The game will teach them about the site. And they will follow the sites on the way of the patriarchs. They will learn it's an actual way. When they read about Hebron, about Jerusalem, about Bethel, Shiloh, Joshua's altar that was on the news last week, they will see that it's all along a way. And you know what? 80% of the events of the stories in the Bible happened in Judea and Samaria and Jerusalem, but most of them along the way of the patriarchs.
It's a great endeavor, and indeed, the folks that live here in Judea and Samaria, we've been fighting a fight not only to get tourists to come here, but for world governments and our own government not to tear away this heartland. not create a Palestinian state on it, and instead see the Jewish people thrive here, succeed here, not face terrorism here, make it part of normal Israel. And so, one effort has been the simple settlement of this land. And that's where the word settlements come from, but not in the sense of like some kind of land takeover, but from the simple sense, like we're trying to settle this land and make it once again. It's really resettle this land and make it again, once again, our own. And there are also forces that want to terrorize us, evict us, and then have a narrative that we're the foreigners. And that's really where this game comes in, where there's a narrative that the Jewish people are not from here. We're not indigenous to here, that our history is not really from here. That's part of the history of erasure of organizations like UNESCO, which tried to claim that the tomb of Rachel is actually the tomb of Bilal bin Rabah, which was Muhammad's helper who never showed up in the land of Israel, or that the Western Wall is the Al Burak Wall, or that the that the tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs of Hebron is actually a Palestinian World Heritage Site. There's efforts to erase history. And now one of the main ways that you teach history is you teach your children, right? And you send them to the right schools. But what you've created here is also a game in which it's fun, and it's a way. It's really you're trying to make a game that's fun, but you're really it's education, it's consciousness, it's awareness raising. You're raising awareness, raising identification with these places, and that's a very powerful tool. But I have a feeling this is not the only thing that you've done in order to get people connected to the biblical heartland, which is here, Judea and Samaria. Am I right?
Yes, well, I traveled many times with groups, different groups from abroad in Judea and Samaria, and you know what? It's happened few times that I took them to visit the sites, the biblical sites that they know, sometimes better than me. You know, when they open the Bibles, they even know sometimes better than me. But then it's happened few times that they ask me, wait. Do you want to tell me that this is the West Bank? what they call about, what they say in the news? And yes, but people are not aware that what they read on the Bible, when they pray, this is here, this is the heartland of Israel, the Bible heartland. And they took a political term, West Bank, and confused the people. And so what I'm doing with the game and by taking groups and visitors and by living here, not far from you, you know, living in Judea, it's exactly what you said before. They are trying to erase a history, but we will fight it. We will fight it because this is our history. That's the cradle of the Jewish people and also of monotheism. And it's all developed along the way of the patriarchs, actually.
That's right. And I think also another reason why you're making a game out of it is because, strangely enough, Yesha, or Judea and Samaria, is fun. There's even a book like that called Yesha is Fun, which is a play off of Yesha Zakan, right? Which was a political slogan that Judea and Samaria is here and all over the country. But then there came out a book by Carney Eldad called Yesha is Fun, or Yesha is Fun. It's all about great places in Judea and Samaria, and it really is fun in the sense that it's fun to be in the heartland. It's fun to be in the spiritual cradle of civilization, and it's just a great place to be, and that's why it can become a game and not just something angry. Speaking of games, by the way, Yitzi Kasowitz writes, "I want to visit," and Yitzi himself is a great maker of games, of Jewish games. He is the creator of J Brick, which makes awesome Jewish Lego sets. That's right. He takes Lego sets, makes them into Jewish themed ones. And, you know, Malk and I, we collect Jewish movies. We collect Jewish toys and products. We have a Temple Mount board game. So we're very excited to have this Way of the Patriarchs game. And I want you to check out also Yitzi's J Brick Lego sets, which is really, really neat. The thing is, if I wanted to buy right now a Way of the Patriarchs, I'm going to be in trouble because you basically have just one prototype because you're in the midst of a campaign to try to get more people into it. It's a Kickstarter campaign, which you can check out at Kickstarter Projects Way of the Patriarchs. And here's the link. I have it up right now. But just to type in Way of the Patriarchs if you're into it. And so you've only made one so far. Now, this one is more geared towards the Christian biblical audience, right? And you have plans for making it an all Jewish one.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about the why you went for a more Christian Bible perspective game first, and then later on a Jewish game. Why is that?
Well, as I said before, I took many visitors in Judea and Samaria. I worked for the Shomron Regional Council in the past for the International Relations Unit, and we brought influencers from abroad to show them the reality on the ground behind the headlines in Samaria, but I took also to Judea. Well, most of them were Christians. Unfortunately, they are more interested to visit and to see and less afraid than Jews.
Then some Jews.
So,
Then some Jews.
of course, then some Jews, of course. And so we decided first.
Because the Jewish community of Hebron, we fill buses of Jews when there's tourism from Jerusalem, and also Christians I want to join, but it's definitely a Jewish tour. And thank God they, thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of Jews come every single year also. But of course, what you're really saying is there's a lot of Gentiles who are Bible believers out there who are amazed by walking this land that the forefathers walked in. And that's the people that also come as a large mass of tourism and bring their wealth and spend their money here, but also have a political clout in the United States, which is still, at this recording, the cultural and economic superpower of the world.
Right, and this mass part of tourism, again, most of them are not coming to Judea and Samaria, so this is the reason it was important for us, because we know how many do visit Israel, but are not reaching to where we live, and that's the reason we first thought about them.
So,
and
go ahead, finish your sentence. Go ahead.
In the future, we are going to develop a Jewish edition, of course, as well.
Right. My daughter saw your video. She loved it. She thought it was really great, but she immediately spotted that it had some more Christian themes, which, by the way, I think is very fair. Meaning to say, we promote our Torah, but there's no question that the people who believe in the Christian Bible have a connection to this land from their tradition, and it makes sense to say to them, okay, from your tradition, here are the places, and there's no reason to deny that. At the same time, I think that it's not just Gentiles that want to connect to this land of Israel, and not just Gentiles who need to learn more about it, but rather many Jews and Israelis. I hope to God that you make a game that's also in Hebrew.
Of course.
Go ahead.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, we have to teach so many more Israelis about. We have to teach them about not just where these places are, but who are the famous people and the famous stories that made these places famous. And one of the things that I'm working with my good friend Jake and people here in Israel as well, and I hope to work with you, Amit, is on actually changing the name of the road, Route 60, to the Biblical Highway, and really create the Israel Biblical Highway, and that consciousness, like Route 66 in America, will have famous Route 60, which is the Israel Biblical Highway, and the game will actually have influenced the very name of the road itself. Yitzi, just that I spoke about before from JBrick, says it's jbrick.com. Thank you, Team Fleisher. Yeah. Thank you, Yitzi. Everybody check out jbrick.com. And for you, and for the Way of the Patriarchs game, I'm just going to put it up again. It's at kickstarter.com, Projects Way of Patriarchs. Okay, that's really neat. And if we're already talking about the Bible, I just want to mention one other sponsor of our show, and that is the folks that make the True Blue Jew Ptil Tchelet. They make the biblical blue on the four-cornered garments from a certain part of a snail, the Murex trunk. I always forget Murex trunculi or Truncux murali. Murex trunculi, I think. In any case, right now the folks at Tchelet, Tekhelet, Tchelet, Tekhelet.com are having their 22nd annual Ptil Tchelet raffle for this Torah portion, because this is the first time that the Tchelet concept is mentioned in the Bible reading, the Torah reading that we have weekly. The grand prize is a beautiful talit with Tchelet. That's really neat. First prize is a woolen talit, a big one, also a talit with Tchelet. And the second prize is a small tzitzit that a four-corner garment that you put on, and then sets of so on and so forth. And there are many, many prizes. So if you go to tchelet.com, Tekhelet.com, you can sign up for the raffle. And if you put in coupon code Yishai, you will get 5% off this wonderful product, or maybe biblical gift, or maybe a biblical commandment that has come to be alive again in our time. So that's very special. So you can walk the land. You can, even if you can't get to the land because of COVID, you could play the Way of the Patriarchs game until you walk the land. You could put on biblical tchelet and really be part of this time that we're living in. And you see people like Amit, they're the real deal, salt of the earth, and they're just saying, play the game and come and connect with us. Am I right, Amit?
Yes, and we hope that people will come visit, and they should know that in Judea and Samaria today, you can find many things to do. You have, of course, the sites, the biblical side, archaeology. You have great wineries. You have extreme sport, extreme activities, attractions, so many things that someone just come and can spend his whole time, his whole vacation in Judea and Samaria. There's
right,
so much to do.
But there is one extreme sport that I came up with that has yet to happen, okay? Check out this. It's right in line with all the stuff we're talking about. This is called the Maccabee Triathlon. And here's what you do. We bike up from the Negev to the Dead Sea. Then we jump into the Dead Sea, and we swim the Dead Sea in a special stroke developed for the Dead Sea with goggles and all that stuff. Of course, we have a boat going behind us, so if anybody gets like salt freaked out, we scoop them out. And then when we get to Masada, you get washed off and you run up to the top of Masada. The first person up to the top of Masada. So you bike from the Negev, swim the Dead Sea, up to the Masada. If you are able to do that, you're the Maccabee. Okay, and that's an extreme sport that has yet to be developed. What do you think?
I think that I should start get training.
It's just another way of thinking about showing the beauties of this land. By the way, Amit, do you know how many tourists Israel has a year so far?
Sorry?
Do you know how many tourists Israel gets a year right now, approximately? How many tourists come to the country?
Before COVID, I think it was the best year ever with around 4 million tourists.
Correct. Very good. Do you know how many tourists come to Turkey every year?
Much more. Much more.
Almost 52 million.
Much more. Wow.
So we, this great country, this country of the land of God, the land of blessings, has a lot more to go in terms of tourism potential.
Yeah.
And I think that's really amazing. Our friend Yitzi says, Amit, great idea. Sounds like a great game. And that is
Thank
really
you.
neat. And I want to, again, recommend that if you're into it, certainly you can write me an email and I can forward it to Amit, Yishai at thelandofisrael.com, or YishaiFleisher.com, or check out the Kickstarter at kickstarter.com, Projects Way of Patriarchs, Way of the Patriarchs, and it's a beautiful game with really a lot happening on the land. You'll learn Bible, you'll learn about the land, and you'll be hungry for more, for actually getting here and connecting. Amit, I want to thank you very much for being with me on the Yishai Fleisher Show, and wish you lots of success.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you for everyone.
All right, we'll see you here on the actual land of Israel. We'll see you in the good land, in the heartland, in the biblical heartland. So lots of love and lots of blessings from the land of blessings. Many more content pieces coming out of our studios here in Judea. Your support and your friendship means a lot, and I mean that. Your emails, YishaiFleisher.com, YishaiTheLandOfIsrael.com, makes a big difference for me. Your support of our patrons, including the Tchelet folks that I mentioned before, Jay Brick that I mentioned before, and now the Way of the Patriarchs makes a big difference. And of course, you can support by going to YishaiFleisher.com and supporting our efforts there. And soon, we are working on it. We'll be developing it, a website about the Biblical Highway, which is going to be called IsraelBiblicalHighway.com. If you want more information, write me an email and I'll send it to you. So lots of blessings and lots of love from Judea, and shalom.